Back to my channel. If you haven't seen this, actually, I've done a little mashup of me saying welcome back to my channel, welcome back to my channel. I think it's so hilarious. I seem to say welcome back to my channel a lot, so I did a little mashup of it, and it's actually quite funny, so please do have a look. And the video isn't long, it's about a minute long of me saying welcome back to my channel, welcome back to my channel. But anyway, let's get into this. So I'm doing one of the favorite things I love doing, and one of the things I love doing is talking about authors, because I find, like, when I was a teenager, I wanted to write books, right? I wanted to be an author. I wanted to write books. I don't think I wanted to be an author. I think I just wanted to write books because I loved reading, and I'm like, I could do this, you know? And one of the things I love is a life of authors, because I find it such an interesting job. Like, you go in a room, you sit down in front of a typewriter, a computer, pen and paper, whatever it is that you do, and you come out with the most fantastic stories that millions of people love to read. That, I think, that is the epiphany of what an artist is. So an author for me is an artist, but in writing, you know, so their art is writing. It's absolutely beautiful. I wish I could go and sit down and just imagine a world and write about that world. I wish I could do that, but I can't. I soon realized when I was a teenager that actually that wasn't my forte, you know. My forte was reading the work, not writing it. So yeah, that dream was soon lost because it wasn't going to work out. So today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite authors of all time. And if you watch my previous videos, you'll know that Philip Pullman is one of my favorite authors. Mr. Pullman, if you're watching my video, please like, share, and subscribe. I do love him. And I thought I like to do 5 facts about an author. So I'm going to do 5 facts about Philip Pullman. But I wanted to make this different because he has got so many accolades that I couldn't put them all in. So I had to choose the 5 that I thought would interest you. But if you're a reader, if you like books, because some people like books but they don't read them. I've got quite a few friends who buy books. They'll go out and they'll buy books for the cover but not actually read the books. So if you love books and if you read, do a little research on Philip Pullman. He's a phenomenal author. So 5 facts about Philip Pullman. We're going to start off with a quotation from him. He says, "As a passionate believer in the democracy of reading, I don't think it's a task of the author of a book to tell the reader what it means. The meaning of the story emerges in the meeting between the words and the page, and the thoughts in the reader's mind. So when people ask me what I meant by this story, or what was the message I was trying to convey in that story, I have to explain that I'm not going to explain." Isn't that fantastic? Isn't that fantastic? And then he carries on to say, "Anyway, I'm not in the message business. I'm in the once upon a time business." I think that is phenomenal. He's not in the message business. There's no message to anything he writes. This is story time. Once upon a time, it's just story time, you know. There's no message behind it. And I find it quite interesting because for a man that's so political, he's telling you, separate my politics from my books. My books is once upon a time, just stories. My political life or ambitions or the things that I say politically has nothing to do with my books. I enjoy that. I can see him in a pub just saying stuff. Have you ever not so much anymore. When I did my pre-reg, when I did my nursing pre-reg, or university had 2 pubs, and it was a small university with 2 pubs. I don't think universities have pubs anymore. I haven't been to one that has a pub anymore, but we used to go to the pub when I was in pre-reg. We'd go to the pub with the professors and the lecturers, and the conversations we would have. And I think maybe we've lost the art of conversation because everything is online now, so we've lost the art of conversation. Let's bring back conversation. It's wonderful. You're in the pub, the lecturers are about, your fellow students are about, and you're debating political meanings, political thoughts. What's your thought on this? What's your thought on that? What's your thought on COVID? What's your thought on how Boris is handling COVID? For who doesn't know, Boris is our Prime Minister. What's your thought on people staying home and being isolated? And what's your thought of anxiety and depression skyrocketing up because people are isolating? So, yeah, there's quite a few things that we could talk about, but I feel like people have lost the art of talking and debating, not just talking, debating. I've got a really good friend who I've brought to this channel, and he is fantastic. When we talk about stuff, we debate stuff, you know, and I feel like we've lost the art of debating. We should bring that back. It's quite an interesting thing to do. So, yes, Philip Pullman says he's not in he's not in the business of sending messages to people. He's in the once upon a time business. And thank you very much. I'm happy with that. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's start off with his early years. If I'm looking, I'm just reading my notes, by the way. Let's start off with his early years. So he was born in England in 1946, and his mom and dad, Audrey and Alfred. And as a child, his father was an Air Force pilot who flew all over the world and did all sorts of stuff. But he died in 1954 and in Kenya. And I think Philip Pullman would have been 7 at the time. And he always thought his father was a hero, you know, airline pilot. You know, little boys, they love things like that. And he always thought his dad was a hero. Unfortunately, in his later life, he found out that his father died in Mau Mau, and that he died bombing how would I put it? Trying to be political, diplomatic. He died bombing people who had no bombs or guns or anything. Let's put it that way. So this is what Philip Pullman said about that. He said, "My father probably doesn't come out of this with very much credit, judged by the standards of modern liberal progressive thought." Once again, very political, but not very political, if that makes sense. So he said that when he found out what really happened, it was challenging to his childhood memory, which it would be, but you know what? This is life. This is life. Sometimes we have our parents on a pedestal, and then as we get older, we realize that the pedestal might be a bit too high. Also, in those days, sorry if I'm really breathing heavy, my asthma is playing up something horrible, so I'm quite breathless. So what was I saying? Yeah, so sometimes our parents, we put them on a pedestal and they can't maintain the height of that pedestal, so they come down and down and down. Or this was in the 40s and 50s. It was a different time, you know. We didn't have all this political correctness that we have now. So in that regard, he was probably just following orders and not doing what he thinks is right, but doing things for Queen and country, as he was a British man, so Queen and country. So back to Pullman. He spent some of his childhood in Australia because his mom remarried, and so he moved to Australia with his mom, and that's where he developed, it is said, that's where he developed his love for writing, because he loved comics growing up, and I loved comics growing up. He loved Batman, Spider-Man, all the comics, and at age 11 he moved back to England, to a town called Norfolk, England, and to live with his grandparents. He graduated from Oxford University, Exeter College. By the way, my niece asked me this question a few years ago. Because of course in America they say college, in England they say university. So just to explain that a university is a group of colleges. A group of colleges come together and they're called a university, just to make it simple. So he did that in 1968. So he graduated in 1968 with a Bachelor of Arts. And then in 1970, he married the lovely Judy. And Judy is a lovely lady who taught at middle school. And he taught at middle school as well. He taught, he taught at Westminster College. And he's taught there until 1996. He's an avid football fan. He loves Norwich FC. Just fine. He's from Norwich. Of course, he's gonna love Norwich FC. FC means football club, so Norwich City Football Club. So, his first published book. I've never heard of it, and I tried to find it in Waterstone, and I couldn't. I went on Amazon, and it wasn't there either. So I'm not sure if it's still in print. So his first book was The Haunted Storm. Couldn't find anything about it. I guess it was a long time ago and it's probably out of print. So, wow factor. Let's start off with his accolades. His accolades are huge. I can't begin to get into everything. So I just chose the ones, once again, that I thought would be of interest to you. So he's got a CBE. He got a CBE in 2004. So CBE means Commander of the Order of the British Empire. And this was started by King George V. And so he's got one of those. It's a third highest order in the British Empire. You know when the Queen goes bang, bang, use her sword and touch you on the shoulders? That's basically. But then he was knighted. So knighting is higher than the commander, than CBE. So he was knighted in 2019. And knighting is a KBE, and that is Knight Command of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. And that was in 2019, as I said. Gosh. So this can either be given. Now this is deviating from what we're talking about, but a knighthood can be given by a monarchy, and you would not believe it, also by the Pope. I'm not sure how the Pope fits in knighting people. Does anyone know the answer to that? How does the Pope fit into this? And I don't understand. Why is it that the church is involved in knighting people? I don't know. But anyway, yes, so he's got a knighthood. He's also got he's got so much stuff. Gosh, he's also got he got a award in Sweden called the Astrid Lindgren Memorial Award, and that was in 2005. He got the Carnegie Medal in 1995. He won the Guardian Prize in 1996, and he received an award for the first book he wrote, The Haunted, in 1972. And gosh, he's got so much stuff, and this I think is quite nice for him. I can see loads of people would love to do this. He lectures at his alma mater, which is Oxford Exeter College. He's the president of the Blake Society. He's got a master's in creative writing. He received a doctor's of letters at Oxford. This is said to be very, very, very prestigious. If you've got a doctor's in letters in Oxford, very, very prestigious and very, very prestigious. And to top it all up, he's such a high achiever. His dad would have been proud. To round it all up, he's published 33 books. 33 books. Yeah, gosh, what's it like to put? Because I know authors will write book and never publish them. So can you imagine publishing 33 books? Anyway, number 4. He is quite political, as you can tell from my beginning. He's quite political and he fights for lots of causes. He fights for the closure of libraries and the encroachment on public liberties. I'm up for that one. Stop encroaching on our liberties. The encroachment of public liberties for authors who fail to pay, who fail to get paid for ebooks. Now, he's a superstar if he's fighting for this, because it's true. Authors tend not to get paid. If you look at Amazon, look at YouTube. A few YouTubers, they do write, they're authors, and they don't get much for their books on Amazon. So yeah, I think that's a good fight. So he's part of the William Blake Memorial, which is a famous. William Blake is actually a British poet. I think he died in the 18th century, and he wanted. So William Blake's cottage that he lived in and write all his poems was being sold off, and he asked for the British government to purchase it. That's quite good. And listen to this one. I think this one's quite funny. He led a boycott of the Brexit 50p coin. Oh my god, I didn't even know there was a Brexit 50p coin. I think my friend Marion might know this. She knows these sort of stuff, you know when you have friends that knows different things. Marion, and maybe Brian as well. Marion and Brian will know this. This is news to me anyway. Boycott of the 50p coin, the Brexit 50p coin. So when we were leaving the EU, we've just left the EU, but in preparation for leaving the EU, they minted this coin, and it's called the Brexit 50p coin. And listen to why he did it. Because on the coin it says peace, prosperity, and friendship with all nations, okay? But he's saying that they didn't use the Oxford comma. So the Oxford comma would say peace, comma, prosperity, comma, and friendship with all nations. So he's saying they didn't apply the Oxford comma. So we should boycott it because it's not proper English. Oh my God. It's not proper English. So boycott this coin because they can't speak English if they don't speak it the Oxford way. So yeah, that's quite funny. As I said before, you wrote 33 books to date. My favorite book being the Dark Material trilogy and the Book of Dust trilogy as well. And I think I briefly mentioned them as you should read at my 2020 read, in one of my 2020 reads. So yeah, there's been a few adaptations to his book. Theoretical versions of the Dark Material has been on radio, CD, audio. He's had a few TV miniseries as well. Listen to this. It is called I Was Rat. I've never seen it. The Ruby in the Smoke, The Tiger in the Well. I've seen The Tiger in the Well and the Tin Princess, but I've never seen I Was a Rat. But my favorite, to wrap it all up, my favorite screen production is The Northern Lights and The Golden Compass, which I think starred Daniel Craig and Nicole Kidman. Actually, I think what I will do is I will review the books alongside the film and see how the films do in comparison to the books. That might be quite interesting. Yeah, so that's Philip Pullman. He's political. I love the bit about the Oxford comma. If you're not going to use the Oxford comma, you're not using proper English, and just don't use English. Now, that one I think was quite exciting and quite funny. He's something else. But also, the fact that he is demonstrating for other authors to be paid, I think is a good thing. Anybody who stands for something important, you take your hats off to them, because many people will know that it's important to stand up and they won't stand up. So well done, Philip Pullman. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me rattle on and on about stuff. I do love Philip Pullman, and do read his books. They're quite interesting. He's got a really, really good imagination. So thank you so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.